Hello YouTube. I just recently got a Creality K2 Plus down in Micro Center for the Black Friday sale, and just thought I'd give you my initial impressions of everything I am seeing here. No real need to go through an unboxing video per se to go through the procedures to unbox this. Creality has a very good unboxing instruction video on YouTube. There's a QR symbol on top of the box. And everything's just really dialed in and well thought out with how it was packaged. Let's see here. I'm going through some of the last steps now. So they show you all this. A lot of things are screwed in all together. So the bed is held down in these 4 locations. And I saw these little stickers. I thought it was just for the video, but no, I kept them in here for the production units. This thing's been out there for about a year now. So hopefully everything's really dialed in. And just showing you that, like, last steps of it. I have the CFS, the color changing system with it. And this is the basic box right there. So here's the box it came in. This thing I'm holding in my hand right here is the bottom of it. And of course the box lid is upside down. These little cutouts right here, there's little plastic guys that keep it all locked together. There are some, we call it pull handles on the side. And everything has just the right pieces of foam in it. Really, the machine itself is not too much smaller than the box is. There is a good maybe inch of padding around it with some reinforced cardboard edges, and fairly well thought out. But I knew this is a very heavy machine, and Amazon's great and delivery's great for a lot of things. But something of this nature at this price point, we have a Micro Center that just opened up here in Florida. So I drove down there and picked this up in person, looked over the box. Recently, my wife bought a beauty desk from Amazon, and it arrived by FedEx. And one of the sides was ripped open, and there's all kinds of parts and pieces falling out in the driveway. So something technical in nature like this, I did not want that to happen. So check out places like Micro Center. These things are kind of like a locked-in price, so you can buy it online or in a store. You still have to pay tax, so really the price point is the same. Benefit of in stores, you get to see what you're getting, and you handle the transportation yourself, not just, you know, dumped off a turnip truck, so to say, with the package. Now, I should say something like this, if this were to fall, it could get damaged pretty easily. I'm upgrading from an Ender 3 Neo Max, which was excessively padded, which something like that would be a lot more well protected. All right, for comparison, the venerable Ender 3 Neo Max has around a 1 foot cubic foot build volume, similar to this new machine. I bought this thing about 2.5 years ago, and there's a lot of hate speech and throwing shade on the Ender 3. But for the price point and what it is, I don't really have any complaints about what the machine is itself exactly. Most of the challenges came in with print settings and getting that all correctly. I'm able to reliably print things like this little funnel right here for part. And this is printed in spiral vase mode, very little contact area with the bed, and no adhesion issues at all, because I had those figured out through the settings, and of course the addition of the PEI bed. That's one of the upgrades. I have the dryer box, and I pulled my power supply over there. Probably the only thing that I should say technically I didn't like about this printer is I wanted to do radio control airplane parts as part of what I bought it for. And if you get the normal lightweight PLAs that foam, they foam around 260, 270 degrees Celsius. This machine will tap out at probably 240. It'll hit a thermal limit. At first I thought there was something broken in the machine, but you go back and read the specs, and that's all it can give out. So that was a pretty important point on this new machine, to get something that can handle ABS, lightweight PLA, some of these others. Also something that had a direct drive extruder, rather than having it over here with the Bowden tube push and all that stuff. And let's see what else. Core XY was a key thing. But I've been looking at the different models and makes, and I've seen what was said about the Ender 3 versus what I experienced with it. And there's a lot of I should say, just Ford versus Chevy, a lot of throwing shade. That really isn't true. Is this the best machine? No, but has it printed untold numbers of parts for me with really print and go capability? Yes. Once you figure it out, you're printing stuff like this, which, you know, there's complaints about parts like this lifting up, turning into spaghetti. I literally just made the slicer file with default settings. I knew that works. Plugged it in, pressed the go button, and heard it spool up, and then walked away, and then 2 hours disappeared. So anyway, the Creality as a brand, I can't really knock them for bad quality or anything like that. So that's what made me take the plunge on a machine that cost roughly 4 times more than what this did. This one I did order directly from Creality directly, but the tower right here was bolted assembly to that, and it comes with way much more padding. It's way lighter weight, and they didn't have things like Micro Center. They had, you know, maybe something you could find, some off-brand at Sam's Club, maybe Best Buy. But now with the Micro Center down in South Florida, you can go in and get Bamboo, you can get Creality. They have a couple of other brands as well. So anyway, that's kind of the push and drive of why I stuck with the brand. Not trying to be brand loyal. I just know it's something that has worked for me. And another thing to note here, when you get the K2 Plus with the CFS system, is it's packaged uniquely versus just a K2 standalone. So the gist of what is going on with that is you get one big box, and it has these fancy little plastic support brackets that screw in here, and the CFS itself is directly, what do you call it, screwed into the machine. You have to undo the Allen screws on it to get everything out. All right, we've got the new machine booting up. Power switch is around the back. The screen is thinking about it. All right, going through the setup screen, we are in English. Hit next. Move the 4 screws, which we have done. I'll go in and show that here real quick. That'd be really bad. We got that one, that guy, and that guy. And you got a nice little light in there. That's pretty cool. Anyway, so that's all done. The yellow arrow, hit next. Welcome, please keep the green cube in the diagram clear of everything. So yeah, nothing's inside. I'll confirm that. Nothing is inside because that'd be really bad. Standard printer stuff except for Core XY, the bed starts at the top and descends, versus my older machine, the bed just goes forward and back. So we'll hit next. Read the privacy policy? Sure, why not? Bunch of stuff. If you're not the product, you are the product. I don't know, something like that. Next. All right. Okay, getting through. Got on the own network, and then there's Creality Cloud. I downloaded the app, but I'll try to mess with that later. Anyway, it's going through some diagnostics right now. No filament in the CFS, but it has temperature and humidity. So apparently this check takes about 16 minutes. A little later on, it's doing that. Cutter calibration. It's going all the way across. Okay, Z-axis is going down. I have to say, if you're on the fence about the CFS, probably best to just get it from the get-go, as everything's just so dialed in. You could always add it later, but let the learning curve be once, I think, with this kind of stuff. Okay, we're approaching takeoff speed. I don't know what this is about. I think it's a fan or heater running on the side. One thing to note about the CFS kit is they only give you enough real Bowden tube, and one of the data cables is only long enough to have it on top. If you want the CFS to the side, I'm gonna have to look into some longer Bowden tube and longer cables available through what do you call it, Creality. Probably ought to have that thing shut and locked. There's little locks on the side. Anyway, that's gonna be the preference. I think I have a storage rack in this room, so I'll probably just reconfigure it for it to sit on the shelf and probably have the CFS to the side, and then the venerable ender can sit next to it for the whole setup. It's going through this thing called input shaping, and it's making like a vibration noise. Not quite sure. Maybe those are shaker motors or something to get this thing calibrated in. And I have it sitting on 2 sawhorses. Just kind of wanted this thing out in the open just to get it all set up and running. Now we're going through the infamous auto leveling system. Apparently the heating element, the hot end, is the touch probe on this thing. Anyway, a lot of noise. Hopefully this thing will be quieter under operation like my ender. This is the most unusual auto leveling thing I've ever seen. Normally the ender just touches 25 points in a grid. A little touch probe. But this thing's doing its own little thing right now. Alright, this is a little bit more of a normal auto level that I'm used to. So it's going around and touching a bunch of points. Okay, setting up the CFS with the supplied filament. Has RFID tags in it so it knows what's in there for this brand. Anyway, they lock in the filament on the side of the spool, so you're going to want to nip that. So you do not want these tight bends in this filament going through the system. It wasn't quite clear in the video, but anyway, you put the spool in, and I'm sure that RFID helps. But anyway, you put that in there and it'll auto grab it. And there we go. There you go. So that's the setup of each roll, how they go. Should note, closing the lid makes it quieter than having the lid open. Of course, in normal operation, it won't be going this fast for a print. All right, filament's all loaded, and got a multicolor benchy going on. So everything's spooling up. We'll see how it turns out. So that little action right there, that's the little guillotine for the filament as it changes out colors. Okay, I just got done with this first color change from blue to white on the benchy test supplied. Everything's adhering fine. Extremely fast. Like if this is the ender, it might have been, I don't know, 16th inch up by now. Alright, here I am on my personal computer, logged into the Creality cloud, and I'm watching the print from here. So this is a 4K monitor, but anyway, that's showing what I'm seeing right here. It's pretty epic. Okay, we're on Creality Cloud right now on my account with the K2 Plus. So you're seeing real time what I'm seeing on a fairly standard size computer monitor right here, my one off to the side. It's gone through 3 color changes now, or it's on the 3rd color, I should say. So it started with blue, white, now it's on red. You can almost get a better view of what's going on with this this camera inside the machine than actually looking at it. Of course, it's a small benchy and a big machine, but very impressive technology to be able to see this real time. You can, of course, send files to the cloud and all that, and has a free version, which I think gives you most of the functionality. And then there's a paid version on a subscription basis, I think, so that gives you some like extra functions. but very impressive to see how everything's working on here. All right, it's going through a color change right now. Last one will be black. So you're just sitting there. I think it's extruding some stuff out of the back right now. And I'm not sure if it prints this thing every single time as just like a purge tower, maybe, not sure. Anyway, but that is one drawback to this particular machine with CFS is you can do the multicolor prints, but you're gonna end up with a lot of waste. If you can do something with that, it's fine. So here it is. It's guillotining off the resin, the old filament. There's like a little knife right there. Anyway, that's what when it's slamming back and forth. That's what it's doing. Let's see here. And here we are now in the final color. You see just a little bit of black right there. All right, just finished the benchy. First look at it. Smells like nice molten plastic in there. And there it is. I probably let that cool off. Alright, here we are testing that spiral vase mode. Bed adhesion looks excellent. That's not changing any settings at all. So normally I have some defaults that I've custom tuned in for the Ender 3, but using the Creality slicer, no problems noted with bed adhesion. It has 2 layers and a crisscross. And it's already doing the base mode. It already has the floors adhered. We're using the red in there, and this should be done pretty quick. I'll try touching the screen here. There we go. So that sending the files through the network thing's really slick. That's something with the Ender is a real pain in the ass. It's taking a little tiny thumb, what do you call it, SD card, and sticking it in the printer upside down under the bed. So this digital file send is definitely the way to go. All right, finished with the spiral vase mode test. Looks pretty good here. I need that to cool down a little bit. Grab the little thing. Just get an idea of what it looks like. The shape is correct. It's just a matter of how much strength it has. See, like things like that. The walls are separating, so they'll have to be tweaked. The settings and everything on the Ender prints basically they make contact and it adheres together. But overall, pretty darn good. Got another print going today. This one's one of those articulated dragons for the kiddo. Running some silk PLA. I'm thinking the brand right here. Go get it. Make a 3D. I haven't really used this one much. Just on a couple projects. I usually use Sunlow. Anyway, no RFID, but all these, when it's sitting in an idle mode, none of these really seem to have tension, so you can just pull it out with the CFS and then put in a new one. This one took a little bit of finagling to get it to grab right there. You get the filament down to about that level and some kind of motor grabs it. So that's how that works. But yeah, overall, first impressions, seems like a very high quality machine. Everything's super dialed in. There's no, like, I call it COTS parts, like all the micro switches and the stepper motors are all hidden behind things. Seems very clean. What you're hearing right now is kind of an average level of sound vibration. It's not really moving that much, but you definitely want on something solid. I wouldn't have this on something with wheels. It is a little heavy, so anyway, my intent is to reconfigure this adjustable shelving, have it on there with the other one, and move a lot of 3D printing stuff in here. This is on a 15 amp circuit, and this one's running it just fine. Two of them, I have no idea, but I'm not really looking to start a print farm. Really, I'm just maybe make a couple products, sell them, see if anything catches. But that's the gist of what this thing is. We'll jump over to a computer for more details.
All right, I got my first print going of something I designed myself and sliced myself. I'm using the downloaded Creality slicer software. I put a G-code file in there directly, but it's giving me some errors. So anyway, I just loaded the STL file in there. I'll show you what's going to be making. It's a test item for spiral vase mode test. So all these little gaps or cracks you see here, often called fjords, the printer will go around and go into each of those um, in the print. So it's just test the gap and like this kind of gap, and then end-to-end gaps. And the idea is to dial them in as close as possible so everything connects. So you can print structural items in spiral vase mode. Quite the involved part. Let's see if I can move that out of the way. And I'll go try to load the actual gap test STL. Just reading through some files. Gap test. There we go. 3MF. Ultra make Akira. So Akira is my default slicer software. So it's loading up right now. I didn't want to interrupt the Creality software just because it's doing a print from the cloud kind of thing. There we go. Open project. Open. But this will give you an idea what this thing is printing. So let's see here. Slice it. Cura is my default. I've tried some others before, but Cura, there's a ton of options buried in here. Maybe some of these things are by default now. But that's what this thing's going to print. So you can see all the layers. And we'll shrink it down a little bit and I'll play it so you can see what is going on. So anyway, it took quite a bit, but this particular test item kind of tests out everything you would need for a structural spiral vase mode, particularly for things like radio control aircraft wings, where these could be like internal ribs with lightning holes in them. There's follows that 45-degree overhang rule right here. You got two ribs crisscrossing, so that covers that. And anyway, so that's everything going on there. And we'll hide this real quick. And let's see here. So I got a friendly reminder right here from, this is the online Creality cloud. So it's talking about just make sure you check your first layer. Let's see here. I get back to the gap test. There we go. So you can do this on the screen. That's looking pretty good to me. I'll go check it out here in a second. Wrapping up the video, we have that print that you just saw earlier running. It's an articulated dragon. And let's see here. Go look at some stuff here. So this K2 is a list on the holiday shopping list down here. You check out the website gouldaro.com, has some other aviation related Items, you can certainly make some accessories for a home-built plane. Certified plane, gotta be a little careful with what you're doing, maybe like covers or something like that. Certainly radio-controlled aircraft, things of that nature. So let's see here. Getting into it. So there we go. Creality kind of strongly encourages the same prices, or however that you want to word that, but basically it's 1,200 bucks right now. Black Friday, I don't know when it ends, for 2025. This was up to like 14, 15, 1,600 bucks too when it first came out. The printer's been out for a year now, so if you're interested in a Core XY with all its functionality and a 1 cubic foot ish build volume, it's definitely worth checking out because it's new, but has enough time out there where I think they got the bugs worked out of it. Everything seemed to work fine for me. Most of it was intuitive. But yeah, you can get this directly from Creality if you want. I can put links to all this stuff. Depends on your tolerance and threshold for ordering large and expensive things through the internet with delivery. Um, the Amazon people directly, like if you're doing Amazon, which I'll throw a link for that below if you want to order anything through there through the links that help support the channel by all means. But anyway, the Amazon guys seem to handle these things with a little bit more care. I've ordered some large and expensive things like a beauty desk about a year ago from Amazon. It was delivered by FedEx, and it was just like a chain of events. They used some waxy like cardboard, the tape let go, and by the time it got to the house, like the box was open, there's parts and pieces on the driveway. So highly unacceptable for something like that to happen in terms of paying top dollar. You know, it's not a discount and receiving something that could be incomplete or damaged. This thing right here is pretty darn heavy, so that's something to consider. Normally, I'd love to have you guys order through the links I send for Amazon. It'd be great. But the challenge is just that delivery part. So props out to Micro Center right here. So that's where I ended up getting it down in South Florida. New store they put in. These stores are kind of sparse. There's like one in Texas, one in Colorado, one in Georgia. Um, they're spread around a little bit here and there. Maybe I could pull up a map, but this is where I got it. They had four of them sitting there, and I just looked over the boxes. All of them were in pretty good condition. Got a box. They helped me load it onto a pallet cart kind of thing because it's pretty darn heavy box. And big old line to get out with Black Friday, and then they helped me load it into the car. So very helpful. Box is in great condition. No damage found. So that whole it was a 2 hour drive down there, 2 hour drive back, but I didn't have any of that drama I had with the beauty desk I ordered for the wife last year. So again, just to sum things up, this is the combo, and it truly is a separate part number. You can get the base one for $200 less. It's like $999 right now. It doesn't come with the CFS, but it is CFS compatible. But honestly, if you have any intention on some of the things the CFS can provide, let's see, make it bigger. Normally, the top of the line thing of why you'd want a CFS is to print things in multiple colors. But it also gives you a nice, what do you call it? To get the words right here. If you're going to print one color at a time, it's also good because if you say you print a lot of black prints, a lot of white prints, something like that, just the whole thing is a single color, then you just go in and select it the last second. The roll is in a box with some desiccant underneath it, and it's all loaded up and ready to go. So you don't have to unload the old roll and load a new roll like you would on um, something like the Ender. The other thing too that I noticed is that the home mode for this thing is to not have this filament really gripped in the system. You can back it out by hand and then replace the roll. And then once the little sensor in here detects there's filament, there's a little motor that starts pulling it through the system and calibrates it and all of that. So I don't think I'll be doing too much multicolor printing, but I'm certainly going to be switching like I said earlier, a black print, a white print, Currently we got rainbow filament going in there right now from an off brand. It doesn't recognize the if it's an off brand like Sunlu, like I use a lot, it is there's no RFID on it, so you do have to do a little bit of manual entry on the touch screen. Everything happens through this touch screen right here. This guy is just a readout of temperature and humidity. Also has an indicator light showing what filament is under use at that time. Let's see here, trying to see what else I can tell you about it. Taking a quick look at just comparing the K2 Plus to the Bamboo comparison. K2 right now, just Black Friday reference with multi-filament, for filament choices. It's at 1,200 bucks. So then we go over to Bamboo, and I'm not as familiar with their products. They're just, I don't know, they kind of price snob me out of what they're doing there. I know it's high quality stuff though. But here's their options. So they got an H2C. There could be a purist on the internet that's going to see this and go, make a big mess out of this. But I'm just showing you what I'm seeing. So right on the Bamboo website, they got the H series, which is these larger ones. One with their 4 filament system right there is at 2,300. This might have a laser in it, so that could throw some extra money at it. Right here, you're at 1249 for the base unit. Let's go take a look at these. Yeah, so there's all the different kinds of options in here. Yes, reading it, but in general they do cost more. Let me go over this one here. So the H2C, yeah, it's just one product. And let's see here. It comes in separate boxes. A little harder to read. So you go on this main site here, and then they got, this is already up to 3,000 bucks. Now, granted, I think some of these have a laser in them. $3,400. Yeah, so you're getting expensive quickly. Let's see here. H2S. So let's see here. That's about 300 more. Um, yeah, if you're wanting to do that. The print volume is the same. The nozzle temperature, I think all that stuff is about the same. So let's see here. With AMS is what they call their system. Then you add the laser, you're at 2 grand. So that's really what you're looking at. I think they brought the prices down on these somewhat. Oh, let's see here. Yeah, that's everything I'm seeing right now. So it's really just what floats your boat. If you want to get a Bamboo, just to say you have the best. Honestly, this thing seems to be working really good. Um, K2 is very dialed in from what I can see. No technical errors. The packaging instructions and the videos, they just really thought things out, like little clips and pulling off the top of the box, the whole setup. So that's definitely were some points right there. I didn't see like shabby quality or them skimping on anything. I think they're really bringing their A game to this, and honestly, I think they're gearing this machine more towards like the pro print farm level. Is really what this machine is kind of geared for the optimum customer. Certainly the home hobbyist, it's taking out an ant pile with a stick of TNT. It's a major overkill, but it can do all kinds of things. So the shortcomings of this, actually showing it in this view. So the price point where it's at is 1,200 bucks. Is what I paid. The CFS right here for the filament can only sit on top of the machine as shown right here with the cable lengths and the Bowden tube lengths provided. So I got on Amazon and I got longer Bowden tubes and I got longer data cables. So 2 longer data cables, 2 longer Bowden tubes. I plan to put this thing on that Sam's Club rack and have the CFS off to the side and hopefully have room for if I ever get another one of these underneath it. So that's one shortcoming is they probably should have provided two longer cables and two longer Bowden tubes for a side setup. It's not the end of the world. It's not really big money for that kind of stuff. Trying to think what else there could be here. Now, obviously, it's the printer. It's almost like a subsidized business model where they're probably taking a loss potentially on these printers or very razor thin margins, and then the idea is you make it up with filament, especially with this provided RFID filament. The quality of the filament provided, looking at the prints, I can't really complain. It acts great. That RFID for simple setup makes it very friendly. So again, looking at Amazon, normally I'm looking at Sunlu. Let's back this up. So this is Sunlu filaments. We'll throw some links down below. These don't have RFID. It seems like, I'm not sure what Bamboo does with their system, but Anycubic and Creality have RFID. I don't know if they're cross-brand compatible. It'd be nice if the industry kind of made something common with all that. Honestly, the RFID little sticker that goes on there is pretty low cost item. It's just adding it. But the Sunloo stuff, one of the benefits for me, I'm down in Florida, but they have almost all this stuff in stock, so it's actually available the next morning, like 4 to 8 a.m. if you really want it that fast. But it arrives very quickly. The Micro Center, just to grab a roll of filament, is too far away of something of that nature. And honestly, this arrives by Amazon just fine. And it's not trying to be an advertisement for Sunlu. I'm not subsidized by them in any way, but just letting you know what the main filament I use. And I've run a lot of spools of this stuff, but they have pretty good deals, good quality, a lot of options. They'll have these other kinds of things like the gold and the silk filaments, rainbow filaments, as you can see right here. So that's a good backup one here. But yeah, it's worth checking out, I think, if you're wanting to make a move on it. For the rest of the year, once Christmas is over, I think they're going to probably bump the price back up, and eventually they'll come out with some kind of K3 model. But this seems to be their flagship model currently for the next, I don't know, year or two. Um, and the other thing to think about is you got these like real pro, like huge 3D printer channels on YouTube that's all they do, or they run a print farm and they can kind of stick their neck out there for a beta model, basically, like the first customer look. This thing's it's for me for what I do with this, it is a chunk of change. So letting it brew out there for about a year to get all the bugs worked out, I think was well worth it. I've been looking at this machine for a while. And again, the Ender 3 Neo Max, that is been my main machine before, really has helped sell me on getting this particular one despite some naysayers out there. So, yeah, that's everything I have to cover about it. Leave comments, questions below in the description. Also, don't forget to check out the description below in this YouTube video to see the various links of where you can get these things, whether it be from, you know, Creality themselves, Micro Center right here, or even on Amazon. So hopefully this is a good comprehensive video for someone looking to get this kind of machine in the end of 2025. Best of luck on your projects, and don't forget to check the channel and the website for new items.